Hey guys, welcome to another Frasier Friday. I'm Dan. This is Merlin. Welcome aboard to another great half season. We're doing these in half seasons just to really tackle each episode at least a little bit.
Dan, you know I wouldn't miss a Frasier Friday.
You never will. You literally never will.
Though we didn't actually do what we originally thought of. We were going to watch Frasier every Friday.
Yeah, that's true. We kind of are just watching them on our own and then coming together and discussing.
But it still counts.
It still counts. They're getting uploaded on Fridays.
But hey, I would watch Frasier every Friday if I could.
Yeah? There's nothing stopping you, really, when it comes down to it.
Well, sometimes I watch them on Fridays, so yeah. It's happened.
So we're going to tackle the second half of Season 2, and this is 13 through 24 episodes. These are some of my favorites of the season. We've already talked about some really good ones, though.
This has been a good season.
It really has. So let's move right in here with episode 13, Retirement is Murder. This is with the help of Niles and Daphne. Frasier thinks he has solved a crime that has baffled Martin for decades. And he stumbles across his notion of it being a monkey that did it. This is a classic. This is such a good episode. I mean,
it's great.
And again, there's some miscommunication here. We were talking about this last week on the show. Frasier positioned the pictures so that Martin would see what he saw. Mm-hmm. Martin didn't. He saw what really happened, which is that another detective did it. But Frasier thinks that they're on the same page.
Which they're not.
So Martin, gets his cop buddies over.
Celebrates.
They're like, hey, like you solved the case, And then Martin says, oh, well, Frasier helped me do it, let's hear your theory. And so Frasier starts espousing all of this nonsense.
I deduced this,
and of course the look of abject
horror.
The F from the rest of the people is great. So that was a very funny one. I gave that one an A-.
And by the way, the story that they referenced, the Post story, Murders in Rue Morgue.
Oh,
I remember reading that in high school.
Uh-huh.
You ever read it?
I have not.
It's good. They kind of spoil the ending, but it is a really good mystery.
Okay.
It is. So that I thought that was actually a cool reference.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's a good short story.
And this is the tag scene at the end where they have Eddie with the gun over Daphne's supposedly dead body when Frasier comes home. We're talking about Eddie's importance last time. So up next we've got Fool Me Once, Shame on You, Fool Me Twice. And this is when Nathan Lane guest stars as Frasier's thief who takes the briefcase, and Frasier tries to strike a deal with him, and then it turns out he's running all over town pretending to be Frasier with women and whatnot. Tell me about you. You seem like you have many comments.
I liked this episode.
Okay.
But I feel it could have been better utilized. I thought Nathan Lane was funny, but I've seen him be a lot funnier.
Yes.
And
Birdcage. For example,
and even the producers.
I was going to say producers.
I like Nathan Lane a lot, and I just thought I didn't think his comedy worked quite as well, which surprised me. And I'll be honest, even though this was like the early mid-90s, the Mistaken Identity thing could work. This is in Seattle. It's Frasier Crane. He's very well known. Even with posters everywhere.
Okay.
I
so you just found it quite unbelievable.
Not so ridiculous, but I kind of felt like he's a pretty big celebrity.
Right. His face is on the buses and the benches.
They mentioned later he's got like 500,000 listeners. I'm like, I feel like I
hadn't thought about that.
I thought it was a little unbelievable for the comedy towards the end. I'm like, I don't know. I think the cops gave in a little too easily, thinking it was him. That didn't quite work for me.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being too critical.
No, you know what? You're making some good points. I gave this one a B+, but maybe that's a bit high.
It was good.
It
was
maybe
good.
more of a B.
It was good, but I didn't think it was,
Okay.
It didn't quite punch for me as
interesting.
Much.
No, but you make a good point. Because I did sort of think
it was just a little.
There was one part towards the end. I guess maybe it was when the cops came in and just took him away. You know. Yeah, you're right. The guy is pretty famous.
Yeah, wouldn't the cops at least want to investigate a little more?
Right, before assuming, you're right, we'll take him away.
They're cops.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, so up next is You Scratch My Book. and this is when Frasier goes out with this woman who is like a
psychiatrist,
sort of a
celebrity, author,
yeah, like
self-help.
a feel good, like a feel good self help type author that Daphne is into.
I have to. Can I confess something?
I want to hear it.
Like, maybe it's because he's a classically trained psychiatrist. I don't know the expert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not an expert on it, of course, but
he's a Freudian.
He's
so certainly classically. Yeah,
sure, trained. But I think it's interesting because what was her name? Honey.
Yeah.
Like, as cheesy as she is, I noticed that there's nothing really wrong with that general idea.
Right.
And that sort of stuff is incorporated a lot more in therapy and just in general now.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that type of joke is a bit dated in that sense, like culturally speaking.
Interesting.
Like, maybe obviously it's played for laughs.
Well, and they definitely amped up the saccharine of her stuff. You know, like give yourself an air hug. You know, like all that kind of like they definitely amped up. I think what would be a legitimate, type of thing.
Yeah, like
that would be a success.
Because I guess it came off to me like, are they saying like, you shouldn't like give yourself self-love? Like I don't think the Crane brothers would say that. Like they are,
but they're snobs. So I feel like I thought it rang true.
Okay.
Enough just from their characters because they think they're better than everybody.
True.
So of course their methods of psychiatry
have to be superior no matter what.
Have to be superior.
Which I thought that was interesting is that as cheesy as she was, I didn't think she was totally wrong.
Well, and she seemed like a very nice person,
and
regardless.
And even though he didn't like her books, she didn't seem like she was very how should I say this? She was very confident in her beliefs and I don't know, and she was popular, worked for people.
Very popular.
So I don't know. I kind of liked that character.
I didn't mind the character.
And I also, but that wasn't my big issue. I wanted to ask you.
You'll be happy to know this is on the lower end too. I gave this one a B.
Okay,
which I didn't give anything this season lower than a B. So
good. No, it was still funny, and the gag obviously with him wanting to be with her because she's really attractive,
right?
Even though he hates everything about her work, was interesting, and I like how that slowly builds, and how of course Frasier just goes a little too far and loses his chances,
as always.
I mean, I guess consistently throughout the seasons, is Frasier just desperate, and is he like superficial?
We see many times throughout the course of the show that I think he at various times in his life, I think he feels lonely. I think he feels inadequate. In the romance department. So I think a lot of times, well, it's like the episode that we discussed last week, where Lilith comes back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that one, yeah.
And in the first half of season 2, it's like,
is she really?
He's with her because she's hot.
Yeah.
I
guess that is true. I guess. I don't know. I guess I wonder what Frasier's looking for with that. Like like there's a part of me that thinks he wouldn't want to associate with her. It's interesting. He does want to associate with her because he thinks she's ridiculous, but of course she's stunning, so he has to have her.
Right.
It's kind of it shows his weakness, I guess, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and I love it when we see his weakness because he has funny. Many of them.
Yes, his flaws.
His flaws. But I agree. I didn't think this was. That great. I gave it a B.
Is it just because of the? Why didn't you think it was quite? That great?
I just sort of felt like
done before.
Like we've seen this even with Frasier. I think we've already seen it
a couple times.
A couple times in the in this season we saw it already with the woman.
One.
Not that he didn't. I mean, he liked that girl for more than just her looks.
Yeah, which I guess what I'm saying.
But it's kind of like the first season episode where the hot model wins the contest, the auction.
Yeah,
to be with him. He doesn't. He doesn't know anything about modeling. He doesn't care about modeling. I'm sure he finds it vapid, but she's hot. So it's like we've sort of already
seen that already,
done that, and this is only season 2. So I just thought it was sort of a retread.
Yeah, they've retreaded a couple times. You're right.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of retreads, we've got the next Cheers alum showing up, and that's the show where Sam shows up.
Ted Danson.
And this is Ted Danson, of course. Yep, playing the great Sam Malone.
Funny character.
And funny character, really the heart and soul of Cheers, the star of Cheers, certainly.
Yeah. Sam Malone.
And he's in Seattle trying to sort of avoid the woman who he was supposed to get married to, who it turns out... Tay Leone, yes, the great Tay Leone, who, turns out slept with Frasier, but also slept with many other people from the bar,
Everybody.
including Cliff, which was really the deal breaker for everybody.
Apparently.
And I thought this episode had some redeeming things. I didn't love it.
Oh, you didn't love
I
it?
gave it a B+. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was a little more shoehorned in than the Lilith episode from season 1.
Okay.
I don't think it's as forced as some of the later Cheers alum showing up. But I don't know. What seems weird to me is that Frasier didn't need to do this. Frasier was one of the top shows on television. They didn't necessarily need to do like stunt casting from the old Cheers gang quite yet.
Do you think?
You know what I mean?
You think they did that a little too early? They had to
Yeah, like
establish-
Lilith makes sense because she's
Close.
firmly entrenched in Frasier's life, you know, since they're divorced and they have the child together. But I don't know. I thought it might have been a little bit forced. I mean, I loved... Listen, at the time, I was like all about it. I was like, oh my God, Sam Malone, you know, because I loved Cheers, my favorite show as a kid.
Yeah.
But still,
Well, that's
you
interesting.
know, looking back, it just seems a little forced, maybe.
I wonder your insight on that. I'm surprised. So you weren't that crazy about it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I actually, I haven't seen all of Cheers. I confess. So I was kind of curious. I remember Sam. He was definitely a womanizer, and I just from where he was at the end of Cheers. Did this seem accurate? Was it random? Was it where they took his character? Like, does it make sense? Because I'll be honest, from my limited knowledge, I was kind of like, if this is the last time I saw him, at the end, I didn't really think it was that fun.
It was a classic Sam. You know, Sam's always been a womanizer.
Yeah.
It made sense that he met Taya Leone in this sex addicts group.
I liked that they were. That made sense.
I thought that made sense. But I don't know. I mean,
feel a little. I don't know. Like
it didn't feel disingenuous necessarily, if that's what you're
but maybe
going for.
Maybe like less of a. There could have been a little more of a punch. I don't know.
I just think.
You clearly think it could have been.
I just think it was too soon.
Too soon.
I don't think they needed Sam because we're still kind of establishing these characters.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm obviously. No, let me see. This probably says the date. I bet it's February sweeps, if I have to say.
Sweet.
February 21st, 1995.
Got to reel them in.
It's sweeps. Okay. So that makes sense. You got to get your highest ratings. Let's bring back Sam,
well,
you know.
I think personally...
And good on Ted Danson for doing it, you know.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I liked him.
He did the work.
I like the character. But,
yeah.
But I feel like, if they were going to... I think if they're going to bring in guest characters from Cheers, they should have maybe built up to Sam and maybe given him like a two-parter or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I felt like for all the stuff that was going on in the episode, I'm like, it felt a little rushed.
Okay, I could definitely see that. One thing I did like about the episode that I made note of is that it's the first time really that Niles and Roz are getting along, and it's at the expense of making fun of Frasier. Which, you know, you would expect that that's kind of
how they would bond.
And I did like the one line always gets me where, just because of Ted Danson's delivery, but when he meets the whole family and he sees Niles and he's like talking about how his hairline is like Frasier's was 10 years ago or whatever. Right, he goes, hey, what happened? What happened, Frasier? And then that's the part where we learn. Now this part I loved, where they reconnoitered the whole timeline of
reboot,
because that was, as a massive Cheers fan, I really did wonder, how are they going to, you know, Frasier talked about his dad being dead on Cheers and that he was a scientist. How are they going to reintegrate that and make it right? And I mean, that was brilliant. What the writers decided to do.
You were dead. What did it matter?
Yeah. He had a fight with him, so he said that he was dead, and then
maybe what he really wanted
he
to
said
admit
I
his
was
dad
a scientist.
It's like, you know, because maybe he would have been wouldn't want to admit his dad was a cop. Or
maybe.
something, you know.
And then didn't mention Niles at all.
Because maybe they were. Well, you know, that actually makes sense because remember, he was disconnected, didn't have the relationship with Ethan. The whole point of him going back was to
reconnect.
Reconnect.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Makes total sense. So that's my favorite scene in the whole episode, where Sam meets the whole family. I don't know. I just didn't find it that satisfying that the whole thing that breaks them up is that she slept with a bunch of people in the bar. I think it's funny that like Cliff was the straw that broke the camel's back. I that's classic, but I don't know. I was underwhelmed.
I thought that was a bit unsatisfying too. Like
Yeah.
they're both sex addicts. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was underwhelmed with
Yeah.
that episode. So up next is Daphne's room. This is
This is
a great one.
for anybody
This is a
that's
great one.
ever lived with anybody, had a roommate, tenant.
Yeah.
You can appreciate this.
I can appreciate it.
The whole personal space thing with
Yep.
the woman. This is on point. This is super realistic.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way, before you get into the synopsis, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
tell me.
say, I think you
Is
mentioned
this your favorite?
it could be.
Okay.
But the stare Daphne gives Frasier, no matter what he
Afterwards.
says.
Yeah.
That's the stare of you messed up.
Yeah.
Like
you better make it right.
I'm being very nice.
And we almost lose Daphne in this episode. She's so mad that she really.
And Martin's like, you better make it up.
Yeah.
Oh, and the whole Brian thing. Oh, what are
So
you
yeah,
doing?
basically he goes in her room to get a book, and she finds him in there, and then he tries to make it right, and it doesn't work out, and then he realizes he has these pills that she needs to take at night. So, oh my god, I gotta now go back in her room, and this is the scene where she's disrobing to get in the shower, and he's hiding in the closet, like classic.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's a good one. I left that one with an A-. Let's see. The Club is next. This is where there's an opening at an exclusive club that both Crane boys want to be a part of.
The Crane boys.
And they only really have room for one. And there's sort of some mistaken identity and all that. Classic. This is the sibling rivalry episode of the season. Each season there seems to be at least one where it's, obviously it's always sort of underlying there, but last
really
season it was the one where they were writing the book together, and today it's them trying to get in the club.
They're just sewing each other out this episode, just like
and I think there's another episode similar to this one many seasons forward where they're vying for the same position or something.
Is it in the wine club?
I think it's the president of the wine club or something like that. Yeah,
they compete or something.
So I imagine I won't grade that one too high because it's basically the same episode. But this one was pretty good.
I liked it.
I like their sibling rivalry episodes where we focus on that. But really not much else going on in the episode, so I left that with a B+. Someone to Watch Over Me is the next one. This is where this is the CB's episode of the season where he has a stalker. I do like when they do the CB's.
Oh, I like this one.
But this is when he has a stalker. I thought this was an okay one.
It's pretty good.
There's a lot of humor there and not knowing who the stalker is and what the real intentions are as the audience. We don't know, just like Frasier doesn't know. I like that he got a big, burly female bodyguard. It
was good.
Mined for some laughs. I thought it was pretty good. It was
good.
Another B+.
Not as good as the last CBs.
No, the last CBs was one of my favorite CBs, yeah.
But you know what? If I remember correctly, he wins.
This year he does actually win.
After
yes.
everything.
After he gets mugged in the parking
After
garage.
he assaults the judge or whatever
Yes,
nominated him.
correct. All right, so up next is Breaking the Ice. And this is when they go ice fishing. The Crane boys go ice fishing when Martin's usual buddy cancels. This is a real touching one.
Good bonding episode.
We talked last week about the Dukes episode where they bond over the loss of the Bar Dukes. Here they're sort of bonding over Martin never really showing enough emotion, never saying he loves them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then they end up stuck in the
cabin together.
The cabin because they dropped the keys down the.
Did this
down
exact
the
same
ice.
thing happen to you? No, the car driver just died.
No, I'm not an idiot. We're not morons or whatever he says.
Not morons.
But I like their bonding episodes.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the whole point of Frasier moving back to Seattle
in
part was to reconnect with especially his father, but the brother as well. So I think this is a good episode because it's got the one-upsmanship of the Crane brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first Frasier's not going to go at all. Just Niles is going to go, and then Frasier
wants to do
a little
it.
bit jealous. Yeah, that he's going to have this bonding, but then Niles has to pretend to be enjoying himself the whole time, while Frasier gets the luxury of being a curmudgeon, and that's his thing.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that was a good episode, good bonding one. I gave that one an A-.
Good one.
An Affair to Forget is next. This is The sword episode, the fencing episode.
Oh yes,
where Maris is possibly having an affair with the fencing instructor.
The whole
language scene at the end.
Well, the before that, when he's trying to confront Maris in the deprivation tank.
Yes, and doesn't realize it's actually Niles in there. That's a good reveal.
That was a good reveal.
Yeah,
and I have to say, pretty good action scene for Frasier.
It actually was.
It actually decent,
and it was comedic. It was action packed.
It was like there's some actual swordplay going on.
Yeah, I would say so, and it would not surprise me if David Hyde Pierce knew how to fence.
They had to.
That would not surprise me at all.
They worked that in, but yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one. That was another A- for me. Up next, Agents in America Part 3. This is, for my money, the best Bebe episode, unless I'm maybe forgetting one later. But this is where Bebe sleeps with Frasier. This is his agent, and then goes in the next day to get him a raise. But first, she almost gets him fired. She makes him call off sick, and then they think he's going to get fired, and then he doesn't. But the closing scene of this, where she's out on the ledge, is one of maybe my favorite scenes in like all of Frasier. Like probably top 10 scenes for me. In all of Frasier.
This episode was very good, and she really is very good at her job.
She's so funny when she's screaming off the ledge for the show of it, but then whispering to Frasier like, you're a therapist, help me, get your raise, whatever.
Come to me.
Don't come near me.
She's
really crazy.
She's a great supporting character.
She really is, but they use her perfectly. She shows up about once a year. Like if she was more of a regular, like if she was
might be worn out.
Even as much as like Noel or something, or one of the other people from the radio,
might be a little much.
Yeah, like I feel like one, maybe 2 episodes a season is plenty of
like,
Bebe.
This one was actually like, well, I mean, I guess the last one was very much focused on her with the advertisement. With the
commercials, yeah.
But this one felt like it was really like her episode.
Yeah.
Like it really was.
Yeah, and I'm glad they figured out the proper way to use her. And we see the station manager again.
Yeah, briefly.
That we saw in the Matchmaker episode.
Yeah.
I mean, gives Bulldog a great line where he appears to show concern for her, killing herself, but then he goes,
she's my
agent, and I got my
contract's up.
My contract next week. So I gave that one an A. I mean, I think that's a great one.
That was very good.
Like I said, maybe I'm forgetting one, but I think that's my favorite Bebe episode. Okay, so up next we've got The Innkeepers. This is where the Crane boys buy a restaurant. This is the big farce episode of the season.
Yeah.
They've done a few of the little farces like you mentioned, but I mean, this whole episode pretty much, the last at least 15 minutes or so, is nothing but farce. From the Cherries Jubilee blowing up to, Daphne getting the eel out of the tank and slamming it on the table.
Shocking, the power and the sprinklers.
I thought it was a good one. What do you think?
I really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really do. And it's a shame it didn't work out, but it was hilarious.
It was hilarious. You kind of knew it wasn't going to.
You know what?
But
I will admit, though, I have a minor problem with it.
Okay, tell me.
As it was a really funny
my
episode.
only minor problem is that I think it's there's too much going on in 22 minutes. It's like every 30 seconds something else happens. That's my problem.
There was a lot of jokes. It was a very, very funny episode. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking to myself, what made them think they could do this when you're a full-time psychiatrist?
Well, that is true.
I was kind of thinking, like, how did they think, like, I thought, like, them owning a restaurant, but, like, I guess because they had to move into it, so I was like, why did they, I guess they just want to do this episode, but I'm thinking, why did they think they'd have time to do this?
I guess that's true.
That was the one minor thing that popped up for me, but it still was very funny.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the one thing that's bothered me. Yeah. Like, especially Niles. I was like, what?
So the season finale is Dark Victory. Mm-hmm. I gave that one an A-, by the way.
Okay.
Dark Victory is where there's a power outage, and everybody's at the house. Roz is missing a family reunion, so she's not in a great mood. Martin's got his own stuff going on. It's his birthday, but him and Daphne have been fighting.
Yep.
So all this is going on. Usually, the season finales, at least for these first few years, were like reflection episodes,
Of the season.
growth of character episodes, sort of thing.
Sure.
Last season we had the one where it was the whole episode was at Cafe Nervosa. I liked this one slightly better than that.
Yeah.
I thought they all had at least more of a reason to be there. The Nervosa episode, I just thought it was like forced trying to find reasons for people to be there. But I liked this. I didn't, I don't love it. These episodes aren't so funny as they are more just, like season wrap-ups, reflections, kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're, they don't do cliffhanger season enders.
No.
Not yet. I think maybe later they do.
I think they do at some point.
But Cheers was pretty famous for season-ending cliffhangers.
Huh.
So the fact that they choose to do sort of a more contained episode for these seasons is maybe a little weird. But I like that he sort of called Roz and Daphne family for the first time. I thought that was nice. I thought it was nice that he was sort of tending to everybody individually.
And we see that actually does take its toll on him.
Yeah, we see at the end he wants some time alone. He needs, some privacy. So yeah, I liked it. Definitely better than, like I said, the one last season. So I gave it a B+.
Okay.
What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Not really that funny.
No.
Which isn't really a major detriment even for Frasier, but yeah,
I like it when there's a nice balance.
I like actually it's one of the things we haven't talked about too much. I always love the little verbal gags they have with the text between transitions.
Oh yeah.
Oftentimes they're references to like other movies and double entendres, play on words. We all love that stuff. And I liked the one where it was a Outer Limits one. There's nothing wrong with the television set, to let you know there's no visuals.
Right. Okay.
And I was thinking, they filmed most of it in the set, but I was wondering for that sequence, were they filming on set or was it just audio at that time? Because I was wondering about that, because it was actually black for a good while.
I would imagine they were probably on the set still.
Okay.
But I liked that because of the blackout, they got to actually use the fireplace for once. We never really see the fireplace be used.
Yeah, and it was interesting seeing it done mostly in shadow.
Yeah. And when I watched this, I had to actually look up if this was part of NBC's Blackout Thursday. They used to do these themes. The first one they did was Hurricane Saturday with Golden Girls, Empty Nest, and Nurses, which all took place in Florida. It didn't occur to me when I looked it up that why would this be part of Blackout Thursday when Frasier was in Seattle and all the other shows were in New York. But Mad About You had a blackout, Friends had a blackout, Seinfeld did not participate. They don't need to. And then the 9:30 show at the time was Madman of the People. But
so it was a gag.
So it was all throughout, but they all take place in New York. Frasier doesn't, so I don't know why I thought that. But it was the same season, but earlier in the season. It was like in the fall or something, and this was the season finale. So this was in May. But
gotcha.
Yeah, but anyway, I definitely liked it, but didn't love it.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
So this season was very good. I think we're really starting to hit the stride.
Yes,
for sure. I think the episodes were a little uneven. I think there's more B's than there were in season 1. But I think the writing is getting sharper. I like that we're really getting to know the characters, a good bit better.
And I guess the episodes that really hit very well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some of the classics here.
There's a couple really memorable episodes.
Daphne's Room, The Matchmaker. I mean, those two alone are such classics. The one where they do the restaurant. I mean, like when you think of Frasier classic episodes, a lot of them are from this season.
I remembered a lot. Like I remembered a lot of these episodes. From like this is one that sticks out in my memory very well for a lot of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are more memorable episodes than season 1.
Yeah,
because they have some of the more classic gags, I guess.
I guess so.
So I'm sort of between an A- and a B+ on this season. We gave season 1 an A-. I think there's definitely some less strong episodes here, but
it might be
like
about
you said, some of the classics.
I think it might even have to be about the same grade.
You think about an A-?
Because I think this is like a very classic memorable version season of Frasier. So I don't know.
I can go with that. I can go with an A- here.
Just it's for different reasons, distribution wise.
Yeah, I think the ones that don't hit definitely don't hit as hard. But none of them are,
bad.
I think there were 1 or 2 B- that we gave out in season 1.
Yeah.
So this season didn't have any of those. Yeah, all right. I'm good with an A- on this.
Still pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, still in the wheelhouse, but I think the best is still yet to come.
I think you're right.
If I remember, I think it's like 3 or 4 that is truly like the crowning achievement season of Frasier.
I know they're going to come back to me more and more as they go, and I've started a little bit of season 3.
Okay.
And there are some really good episodes there already. Nice. So it's like, I keep thinking, oh man, like this is the season I remember. There were a lot of classic great episodes, but I know there's a lot of really good stuff later. So I do think there could be even better grades for seasons.
I think so. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. This has been another Frasier Friday. We'll be back then with season 3, part 1 next time. Which, like you said, you've already started. I'm excited to start.
Couldn't wait.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show you could just power through.
I've done it a couple times.
I watched literally 5 or 6 of these in a day.
Me too.
Leading up to the Frasier Friday.
No, yeah, it doesn't take me long to get through them, and that's one reason we're doing it, because I just really, we both enjoy it, and there's something about it. It's just one of those shows you can just marathon it so easily.
It makes you feel good too. It brings back such fun memories of watching them, and
it's
the humor is just it does not get old.
It's a very feel good show, and yet it remains relevant. It's smart. It's fun. Good characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Check us out on Facebook at Dan Reviews It. Check out Merlin's channel, of course, Merlin the Mighty. And that's it. We'll see you back here next time.
Indeed.
Bye.